Now this is cool. Greetings, everybody. I am Chris Beytes, Editor-in-Chief of GrowerTalks magazine, and I am at Cultivate'26, the big summer trade show in Columbus, Ohio, put on by American Hort, that is really the center of the horticulture universe right now. We're going to be taking a look at a dozen or so interesting products, a plant or two or three, some expensive stuff and some inexpensive stuff. But first I got to show you the brand new GrowerTalks Green Profit booth, the Ball Publishing booth. Isn't it sleek? Isn't it modern? Isn't my staff amazing, hard at work back there? They really are. Anyway, come with me as we start, as usual, over on the 100 aisle and work our way all the way to the far end of the trade show to see what kind of cool new products we can find here at Cultivate'26. Well, there's so many different things to see here at Cultivate. Big, small, expensive, inexpensive. But you know I love machinery, tools, robots, automation. So we generally start over here at one of these booths like TTA ISO. The first thing I notice, though, in the booth is all this bright red equipment from PAC Manufacturing. And PAC and TTA ISO now have a sort of a sales and marketing relationship where they're collaborating to offer all of the soil handling equipment of PAC along with the cool plant handling robotics of TTA ISO. And but the machine we want to take a look at is right here. This is the Cutting Planter 2.0. It's an upgraded version, or a sort of a different version of their cutting planter. The original one is very flexible. You could do a lot of different things with it. This one is built for speed. The way it does that is it has a 4-axis robot, and we're getting them to run it right there. The original cutting planter has a 6-axis robot. It gives it more flexibility to get into really big or unusual cuttings, but that's a little slower. The 4-axis robot is faster, and you may not notice it, and I didn't either, but they told me the blue belt in there is wider, almost twice as wide, which lets the cuttings spread out more so the robot can find them more readily. This machine will do about 2,800 cuttings an hour, 10 to 15% faster than the original, which you can still get. So that is the TTA ISO Cutting Planter 2.0. You got to water your plants. That's probably why we always stop by the DRAM booth, because DRAM has so many tools for irrigation. We've covered a lot of different ones. They've got a lot of different cool tools available this year, but we thought we'd focus on one overriding need that you have, and that is a way to control your irrigation. And DRAM has introduced a brand new controller called the Vila controller. Now, this is a Wi-Fi controlled controller. The smallest unit will do 12 different zones. And what's really cool about it is because it's Wi-Fi enabled, you can connect it to your smartphone and you can control your irrigation from anywhere. You can link multiple Vilas together, so you can, with a push of a button or setting of a time, water your entire range. You can, if you know it's going to be, say, extra hot or a little cloudy, you can adjust your percentage of irrigation up or down. Like you'll give it only 70% water if it's going to be kind of cloudy, and you can do it by the entire greenhouse or individual zones. And the best thing of all is it's inexpensive, $500 for a really top-notch irrigation controller. And it's all time-based. If you need, say, vapor deficit or something like that, you probably want to go to a full-on environmental control, but this is going to handle a lot of irrigation needs. The Vila controller from DRAM. I saw this interesting fan, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, because it's a solar-powered fan as opposed to, 220-volt powered fan, or even 110. There's even a solar panel up on the top. This is from iLiving. It is the solar-powered solar fan. This is a 54-inch model, and it's really designed for areas where you want ventilation and airflow, but don't want to have to get hard wiring up to it. Might be a freestanding little house, the top of a barn or shed or what have you. They're talking about maybe making some smaller versions because some of the growers coming by think that maybe 54 is a little too big. They tell me it has a Tesla motor in it, first generation motor, so it's very powerful, high torque, 10 different speeds, I believe they told me. The solar panel does not come with it. You got to supply that. But if you've got a spot where you need some ventilation and don't want to have to hardwire, you might want to look at this iLiving solar powered fan. Oh, by the way, it can run off of battery or 110 volt backup for when the sun's not shining. How about that? If this 100 by 100 booth isn't the biggest at Cultivate'26, well, I would be very surprised. We're at the Adept Ag booth, which is the company's agronomics, Zwart, and plant tech all combined together to provide all the technology and equipment you need to run a modern greenhouse, such as their brand new HE3 hydrofiber expander. Hydrofiber, you should know, is wood fiber, very popular, but challenging to use. And this device makes it easier. What happens is your hydrofiber bales come in here on a belt. You need to remove them from the plastic first. Do that. Come in here. There's some blades up in here. I'm going to kind of show you in a second that chop it up or very fine, mutilate it kind of a bit. Up above, you keep your peat moss because you need to blend your hydrofiber with peat moss. They come down into here and are mixed together and sent down into this chute where they're conveyed along to your the rest of your potting line. Now, the original hydrofiber expander was a maintenance, I don't want to say nightmare, but it was challenging. This machine solves a lot of those problems. First off, Osvaldo, note down here, grease fittings everywhere and easily accessible. This is a map showing you where to find the grease fittings so you can keep it lubricated. And really interesting, check this out. To change the blades, because they do wear out because of the wood fiber, it's pretty tough on them, you disconnect the coupling here, swing the motor out of the way, and the whole blade just slides out here in this big cartridge for maintenance purposes. And Osvaldo, you can see those nasty blades if you get right up in there to see the business end of the HE3 hydrofiber expander. Oh, one other important feature, it's twice as fast as the original, up to 50 yards of finished blended hydrofiber and peat moss versus 25 or so. So that is the Agronomics HE3 hydrofiber expander. Now let me finish my maintenance job here. I need a, looks like a 3/4 inch wrench. Could you get me that? And maybe a 10 millimeter. We are in the Growscape booth where we find grower and retailer containers galore. But one of the kind of containers that everybody's been asking for, but nobody's quite figured out yet, is biodegradable, compostable, in fact. But Growscape has it, or they say they do, with their new Reterra pots. Now, what makes this bioplastic pot different, they tell me, is that this is a composite pot. It's made of different types of bioplastic, kind of like when you make a cake and you put numerous ingredients in, it makes it more palatable, I guess, or easier for microbes to digest. And what happens to this pot when you plant it right in the ground, because that's what it's designed to do, plant right in the ground with a plant in it, in a matter of weeks, it starts to look like this. Yes, Swiss cheese. That's what happens to this pot in just a few weeks. It doesn't happen on the retail bench, though. It holds up really beautifully at the grower bench or the retail bench. That is the Reterra biodegradable, compostable, plantable pot. Look out! You know, to pay for all these machines that I keep showing you, you gotta grow a few plants, right? And when I was a grower, way back in the day, I grew potted plants and I grew weekly potted mums. And it's so rare and refreshing to see some new mum varieties, pot mums, not garden mums. These are from Dooman Orange. And we got two different ones to show you, but the first new collection here is called Gem Pop. Gem Pop are these little miniature decoratives. Aren't these sweet? These are beautiful. I guarantee I could sell these if I went back in the business. There are 4 colors of gem pops. We got a white, a lavender, a yellow, and a burgundy. They're showing them in these pretty trios, but you could do them as monos as well. Very cool plants. Don't ask me about the weeks and response time and stuff like that. I don't know. But the other one is part of their rainbow collection. Up here, these are bicolor daisies. This one is called Rainbow Ballad. And the yellow one over here is called Rainbow Heart's Delight. So grow these along with your calendivas and the other potted mum offerings from Doom and Orange. For those of you who are still growing pot mums, I see both of you out there. No, I am not getting ready to pilot my Apache helicopter, although that would be way cool. I am showing you an example of artificial intelligence, AI, that I found here at Cultivate. It's called FloraTrack AI. And what it is, think of it as a personal assistant that follows you all around the greenhouse and nursery, taking notes, capturing images, putting them in the computer, and basically helping you do your job, especially when it comes to scouting. Check this out. Scout mode. Now I am in scout mode, and what I can do, I can walk around the greenhouse looking for my yellow sticky cards. When I see one, I tell it to take a photo, which it will do, and it will automatically take a photo of that sticky card, and then it will count the insects on the card and tell me what I have in the greenhouse. It can take notes as well as I'm walking through if I see things that need cutting or watering or taking, paying attention to. It'll note that down, send that to my computer, making my job much easier. What else, guys, did I say about this? This is the most complicated thing I've ever talked about, too. Maxim, anything else I missed?
If anything as well, the only thing that you miss is I can also create tasks on the fly as you're walking through. So if Daniel needs to do something along the way, I'll just say, Daniel, come check this out. It'll send a text message to his phone.
So really, that's where the personal assistant comes in, taking notes as I walk around the greenhouse instead of having to write it down on one of these old-fashioned pads. So that is just a taste of what do we call this thing? FloraTrack AI can do in your greenhouse. Now, you said it doesn't have a laser beam, though. When is that function coming?
We're looking at Q3, maybe 2032. Get ready for the laser function to come out.
Beautiful. The pH of your water, your potting mix, and other things around the greenhouse is critical to know. And so you need a good testing device. And Blue Lab has it, and they have for quite a while. They've had the pH pen. Well, we just learned that they have upgraded the pH pen, and it's now called the pH Pen Plus. And what's the upgrade? Well, it still does great and quick pH testing. The plus is that you can now change out the probe on it. Instead of having to discard the entire pen when the probe goes bad, you just change it out. And Kevin, my Carol Merrill here, is going to demonstrate how easy this is. Are you ready, Kevin? Let's show the folks how easy it is to replace the probe. You need to do this, well, if you take care of it maybe once every 2 years, if you're brutal with your pen and don't keep it clean, maybe every 6 months. The pen is only $115. Is that right? That seems too low. $115. Get them now while they're cheap. $49 for a new probe. So that is the Blue Lab pH Pen Plus.
Every year, the Garden Center Group sends a batch of retailers across the show seeking out interesting new plants and products they'd like to sell at their garden centers. The favorites from the group become the Retailer's Choice Award winners. Here are 13 winning plant varieties for 2026. Sweet Caroline Bewitched After Midnight Ipomea from proven winners. Heuchera Firewing Series from Terra Nova. Elegance Pansies, bred by Asao Sato and offered by Tagawa Greenhouses. Sun Parasol Giant Powder Pink Mandevilla from Suntory. Coffee Shop Lavender Latte Dahlia from Syngenta Flowers. Colocasia maiti from Plant Development Services, Inc., aka PDSI. Carrick's Lunar Falls from PDSI and Concept Plants. Sweetunia Violet Vortex from Doom and Orange. Lord of the Flies Carnivorous Butterwort from Little Prince of Oregon. Sophia Laurel from Concept Plants. Potbelly Pittosporum from Monrovia. And Pincushion Skyrocket Scabiosa, also from Monrovia. African Marigold Lana Lace from Pan American Seed.
I'm beat. That's a big trade show, and we've covered like 0.1%, not even a tithe of the show, which is why you have to come yourself. Check your calendars for next summer, next July, somewhere in the middle of the month, and come to Cultivate to see it all yourself. So until then, I'm Chris Beytes from GrowerTalks Magazine saying, see you next time. Hey, wave goodbye, everybody.